A plane crammed with electronics and without a pilot. It's a drone. This model is the Hermes 900. With a wingspan of 15 meters, it's able to fly for 30 hours uninterrupted. It's produced by the Israeli defense contractor Elbit Systems. Switzerland would like to buy 6 such drones for a total of 250 million Swiss francs. 2 models are up for consideration. Both come from Israel, and the Hermes 900 is one of them. After the failure of a recent referendum on the purchase of 22 Swedish Gripen fighter jets, is this part of Plan B?
No, the
drone is not part of a Plan B. We would have acquired the drones anyway, irrespective of the outcome of the vote on the Gripen. The fighter jets are needed for air policing and defence, something that cannot be achieved with the drones.
Drones are too slow for patrolling airspace. With a cruising speed of 200 kilometers an hour, they are optimized for surveying the ground. They are not made to compete with fighter planes. But like the Gripen, the planned acquisition of the drones sparked protests. In February, in Geneva, the Palestinian campaign group BDS drew attention to the Defense Ministry's plans.
Nous opposons à l'achat de 6 drones israéliens prévus par le gouvernement suisse parce que des drones ont été testés sur des civils palestiniens à de multiples reprises. Nous refusons d'être complices de ces crimes.
The reconnaissance drone Hermes 900, here flying over Gaza, is not in itself an offence weapon, but critics point to Israel's use of armed drones. Not just deployed to gather intelligence, they can also carry out attacks, as was the case in November 2012, when the Hamas army chief was executed from the air. Switzerland wants surveillance drones, not the armed equivalent. But in Israel, surveillance drones have been tested in real-world situations in conjunction with other weapon systems. This is unacceptable for the President of the Parliamentary Foreign Affairs Committee, CARLO SOMMARUGA.
We are told that they are used in combat situations, but they also happen to kill civilians, women, men, old people, innocent people. The use of these drones violates the Geneva Convention, of which we are a signatory. We cannot accept those drones for moral and legal reasons.
Da wollen Sie darauf anspielen, ob wir gern haben, dass Systeme schon in bewaffnetem Kampf eingesetzt
If you are asking whether we like the fact that these systems have been deployed in combat situations, then this is not the case. But it's also not an obstacle.
The Swiss Army already flies drones based on technology from Israel, an old model from the 90s, the Ranger. It will be decommissioned in 2017. Currently, it's used for reconnaissance operations, and compared with the new models under scrutiny, it's much less capable in terms of the amount of information it can gather, plus it needs to land after just 4 hours of flight. Such drones are used by the Army, not only in emergency situations, but also for many civilian uses.
There is no question that drones are devices that will become used more and more over time, whether it is for policing, border patrols, assessments in emergency situations such as disasters, or for intelligence gathering to support the army. Thus, you have to make sure that one has the best, and one must also consider them seriously.
The other drone that Switzerland is considering is the Heron 1, that also flies for the Israeli army. These drones can carry all sorts of sophisticated electronic devices that would allow wiretapping and high-resolution photo and video surveillance. A quantum leap in comparison with what the old Ranger can see. The drone in use today in Switzerland provides images of vehicles and people, but they don't reach the level of detail where individuals can be recognized. The fear is that the new technologies, with the amount of detailed information they can gather, would lead to a surveillance state.
If we want to use drones, we should use those that don't produce such sharp images. In order to control the country's borders, we don't need to be able to identify any face or any document. In the end, it always comes down to what you do with the data and how to use it. I am convinced that here in Switzerland we will find a reasonable solution.
The fact remains, in current theatres of war such as the Middle East, as in Afghanistan and elsewhere, reconnaissance and armed drones are being deployed every day. Will armed drones become part of the arsenal of modern armies? Will this be Switzerland's case too in the future? As of today, Switzerland is taking part in research in this field. It's part of the consortium around the combat drone project Neuron, an ambitious stealth model for which the state arms manufacturer RUAG takes care of weapon interfaces and wind tunnel testing. The Defence Ministry is officially uninterested in armed drones, but doesn't want to rule out any option.
Never say never.
Never say never. Currently, the situation is such that combat drones are not under discussion. We will pursue the technology as it's difficult to predict what Switzerland's needs will be in 20 years. But so far, there is no roadmap that leads to armed drones.
The Swiss cabinet will next make a decision on the type of drone to acquire. Then it will be Parliament's turn to decide. No popular vote is foreseen on this issue.